Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here in Florida, being joined with Keith Thurman. You're 3 weeks away from your big fight coming up, and I know it's been a long time since you've been back in the ring. I know you must be super anxious to get in there and finally show what you've been working off for this fight.
Yes, it's been a long time. We are looking forward to getting into the ring again. We've had unpredictable setback. It was also just a lot of time in developing this fight. But now here it is, less than 3 weeks to go, right around the corner. It's going to be a great fight. We're looking forward to it.
Now, I had a set of questions prepared for you, but I'm going to go ahead and ask some fan questions that we got from our social media, from our Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube. And I kind of dropped them, but I'm going to go ahead and grab them right now. So these are just randomly selected questions that fans have for you. And the first one, you're going to laugh at some of these handles that these people have. But the first one's from @PartyPants27. And he asks, how is this fight with Shawn Porter any different than any of your other fights, or is this just another fight to you?
Well, one, me and Shawn have a very close relationship, closer than I've had with almost anybody that I've had to step into the ring with, especially as a professional, especially on this level. So, that's one thing that makes it different. The fact that I even know how Shawn's punches feel like. I know what it's like to go up against his speed, his timing, his athletic abilities. The fact that we are already familiar with one another and we're bringing that into the ring, it should actually make both of us feel more confident, because there's not a lack of not knowing. There is the confidence of knowing, and both fighters should feel well prepared, since, there shouldn't be any surprises. But, I know he might have a trick up his sleeve, and I got one or two up mine as well.
All right, we're going to go ahead and on to the next fan question. Frankie Salazar has a very funny question. Would you rather knock out Kenny Porter instead of Shawn?
We're going for the knockout. It would be nice to, there's been times where I wish, the way Kenny talks, I wish we were gloving up to a degree. But, really Kenny is just a very proud father and coach who believes in his son, does the talking for his son, maybe so that his son only needs to focus on the training aspect. Don't worry about, the talking. All you got to do is do what I tell you to do, and you're going to back up all the words I say anyways, So, they kind of have a teamwork of talking, where really the teamwork is Kenny does all the talking, Shawn does all the boxing. But yeah, it'd be nice to land a nice right hand, left hook on old Kenny there. But really, I just want to put on a good enough performance, do enough damage to Shawn, and then hopefully Kenny will put some respect on my name.
Moving on. Nienam, I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. Nienam M asks, should I bet 30K on you?
All day, every day.
All day, every day?
All day.
It's a good bet. Keith says bet the 30K. Chris Park asks, will you go ahead and try to showcase any new moves or implement any new wrinkles to go ahead and beat Shawn Porter?
I am. We are focused on throwing very short punches on the inside, being in preparation for Shawn Porter's smother tactics. If he's going to smother, there's only really two options. One is to step back and create space and then throw the punch, and two is to be right there, keep it really short on the inside, and land the punch.
All right. Mr. Rahi Rahman asks, Keith, do you eventually see yourself moving up to 154 and getting revenge on Demetrius Andrade from the amateurs?
Oh, that's an intriguing one, right? I've thought about that since the day I walked out of the ring when he beat me, okay? It was funny, though, because I did know from that day I will never be fighting Demetrius Andrade ever again for free, and when we do fight, you're looking at a minimum of a, 7-figure payday. So it's just intriguing to watch both of us go from the amateurs to where we are at the pro stage today, how Andrade still Even with the ups and downs in his career, is still, seen as one of the best in the division at his weight class. I would possibly move up. I can't say anytime soon, not this year, not next year, but sometime in the future, there is a possibility of me moving up. I would love a fight, possibly with Canelo Alvarez, since he's one of the cash cows of that division. Outside of that, I would love a rematch with Andrade to take that amateur rivalry and throw down as pros.
Speaking of Canelo, what did you make of that matchup that he had in really the knockout that he got over Amir Khan?
It's interesting because I think one of my first predictions is how the fight went exactly. I said that Amir Khan looks very good for the opening start of the fight. His hand speed is going to be evident. The main reason why Amir Khan took the fight is because obviously he believed in his boxing ability and his hand speed. And I believe that, because Canelo fights at such a monotone approach where he's just slowly stalking you down and then slowly building the pace up throughout the fight, Amir Khan starts off fast and he slowly fades. So I had a feeling that just around the 5th and 6th round is when Canelo's going to start landing his punches. And it's going to be very hard to make it past the 8th. And the reason why I said that was because Chris Algieri was landing very nice straight right hands around the 6th, 7th, and 8th round when he fought Amir Khan, and Algieri is not a puncher. So just transferring the punch, I figured that Amir Khan was going to get stopped. Pretty much the whole world didn't really see Khan not getting knocked out. And the reason is because, one time is something that represents boxing as a whole, and that's what Canelo was looking for the whole fight. He was looking for that one punch. He wasn't trying to athletically compete with Amir Khan. He was trying to use his defense, box smart, but do damage, and he got that damage in the 6th round.
Keith, I want to know, and a lot of fans ask this question, are you looking at the way Kell Brook beat Shawn and implementing a lot of the things that he used in that fight?
Not a lot, just a very little, I'm taking what I want out of that fight, and I'm doing my best to make the fight my fight and not use somebody else's strategy. One thing that Kell Brook was able to do was, tie Shawn up and not really let Shawn work that smothering and all those little punches on the inside. I'm not one to hold a lot. I don't like to wrestle a lot. I like to have my hands free so that I can do more damage. But the one thing that I liked the most was how calm Kell Brook stayed throughout the whole fight and how he allowed himself to take his time, find his timing, and then, really he just started to put himself into the fight. Then he started to dominate the fight, and as he made the proper adjustment to do what he needed to do to Shawn didn't adjust when the damage was being done to him. He said, I've heard him say in an interview that that's a lesson that he learned, is that he needs to make the adjustment if game A is not planning out. We'll see if he's capable of changing up the game plan in the fight.
All right, so moving along here, Keith, we got a lot of fans that wanted a lot of questions answered. Here's a good one. Chris Castro wants to know what got you into boxing.
What got me into boxing was just growing up with my father and watching him develop in martial arts. When I was 4 years old, he was a part of a dojo. He was practicing his katas, and my father was a big fan at that time in the early 90s of Steven Seagal, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and we used to watch a lot of those kung fu movies together. So I remember as early as 4 years old that I wanted to be a fighter, but I was more interested in martial arts. By the time I was 7 years old, there was a boxing exhibition held at the after-school YMCA program by Ben Getty, who was the head custodian of my elementary school. Got permission from the head principal to put on this boxing exhibition for our after-school YMCA program, and that the kids in that program that wanted to sign up could work with him on the school campus after school hours 3 days a week. Then summer hit, and we met up at a local park. We trained throughout the summer. We were right next to a rec center, and then the park and rec picked us up. We created Clearwater Boxing Gym, trained for many years till about I was 14 years old. They built a new recreational center, took away the boxing program, but me and Ben Getty found ourselves here at St. Pete Boxing. So really, you know, it all was because of that little exhibition that Ben put on when I was 7 years old is how I got into being a fighter.
Surprised you didn't continue with the martial arts and go into MMA. Is that something that still kind of piques your interest, the other martial arts?
I'm interested in watching it in the same way that I once was. You know, I grew up wanting to be a well-rounded fighter, but I never participated in other combat sports outside of boxing. I didn't participate in wrestling in high school. You know, I've never done kickboxing. I actually signed up for Kung Fu when I was 16 years old. It was just really hard at that time to train twice a day, you know, for me, to do my boxing training and the martial arts training. It was a little challenging. So it was a little too much. I like MMA. I would never really convert over unless if I felt like there'd be enough money for it in my career, and if I felt like whomever is the welterweight champion, if I truly felt that they were beatable and I was enticed enough for whatever reason, I don't really see why, but if I was enticed enough, it could happen. We've pondered it. People like to think about it, you know, crossing over athletes, but I always say that they're two different sports and everybody should respect a sport for what it is.
If you like fighting, you could like kickboxing or you could like MMA. That's how I've kind of looked at it, is if you like knockouts, then, you know, what does it matter if it's boxing or kickboxing or anything like that, you know? Moving along, Majora wants to know why the flute, and can you play other instruments such as the ocarina or the sax?
No. So the flute is because I was very good for no reason at the...
That just naturally came to you.
Just no reason. At the recorder. When I was
remember the recorder when I was a little kid.
Yeah, when you're a little kid, right? They put the little recorder in your hand. For some reason, I was so good at it, I enjoyed playing it. I went home and I played it more than just in school. Plus, we had a recital coming up, a Christmas recital. So because I was so dedicated to the recorder for no reason, it was joyful for me. And playing with it as a kid, you got to take it home, and so why not practice some more, you know? But I did it because I liked it. I ended up getting a position as a soloist in the Christmas recital, you know? So it was very natural for me, and that was in 5th grade. So when I came across these flutes at a little mom and pop shop, you know, in the art district here in downtown St. Pete, I just was like, you know, I really want to take these home. I want to play with them. I want to get to know them. It didn't take long. I fell right back into like a natural vibe, because the fact that it's your breath that is sustaining the note, you know, you really have control of the sound. So it made it very easy for me to hear the notes and then play with the notes. The flute is in a natural pentatonic scale, and so I just going up and down the scale, playing with the scale. I pretty much learned it before I even popped in the DVD that came with it, you know, and I really enjoy music, playing music as if you're a little kid playing in a sandbox. That's my analogy all the time, because a kid playing in a sandbox is never upset, never is worried about a special end result. You know, it's all for the joy of the moment while you're in the sandbox.
You know, I find that interesting because I know, and go ahead and it's going to go ahead and take this call. We'll go ahead and pause it. No, we're going to keep rolling?
We're good,
yeah, we're good. Okay. I just found that interesting is the breathing part with the flute, because I know when you're pressed up chest to chest against a fighter, you hear their breathing and you wait for them when they excel to go ahead and throw a shot, so it takes all the air out of them. So I found that very interesting. I see like a little correlation there in regards to that. Now, who's gonna get the lucky question? Yes, you're seeing the question.
I do play the piano and the guitar.
Yeah.
The guitar was the first instrument that I picked up at 20 years old before any other instrument. And after hitting a wall in my guitar skills, I decided to pick up more instruments because I want to play new things. Yeah, that's all.
All right, the final question. Let me see if which one. You know what? I think this one's appropriate. Brian Ibarra wants to know from you, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you?
You know, Muhammad Ali, to me, just a true warrior, man. You know, the fighting spirit, the charisma he had. I'm gonna show you how great I am. You know, I loved his confidence. You know, his skills were amazing as a heavyweight, to move around the ring that he did, to beat the fighters that he beat for his generation. You know, the rope-a-dope, all the different fighting techniques that he brought into the ring. For me, I studied the way that he throws the triple jab and added it to my arsenal a few years back into a training camp. I just really wanted to work on the triple jab. I call it a lost art. A lot of fighters aren't throwing it no more nowadays. You know, but Ali, man, he made boxing so big, and then he made sports so big, because at the time, athletes weren't getting paid that kind of money. You know, I really think he opened up the doorway for all of sports entertainment. You know, Ali was a part of a generation that went from the radio to black and white TV. You know, and then when you had him in the interviews and everything, he was just such a likable guy. You know, he changed his name. He was very passionate about his religious views. He was very passionate about his political views. He went and spent time for his views, you know, but you know, he fought the system. He got relicensed to be a fighter again, and you know, just was one heck of an entertainer, one heck of an athlete, and just a great person. Definitely one who deserves to be remembered and cherished for a very long time.
I couldn't share those sentiments anymore. Keith, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Great seeing you as always. Fans, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to us online as well, and follow us at FightUpTV. Thank you so much for sending us these questions to go ahead and ask Keith. And of course, Keith is going to go ahead and defend his WBA welterweight title coming up at the Barclays Center on June 25th against Shawn Porter.
Oh yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim.